There's no by becoming rich.
Take all your money, buy Bitcoin.
You can wake up every morning and say GM.
GM. Today is Saturday. It's the 12th of October. Here's daily levels. Mentioned yesterday a couple of paths. If we were going to grind down and put in a further low into a higher low, it was going to go, probably yesterday would have rejected. So that path's off the table for now. We're following the main path, the first one I mentioned. The one that's in trading analysis. We take out the lows. We take out the 200. We get back inside. We move towards the highs. So, a couple of ways this will go. I think it's going to make its way all the way to 66, 67. Unless it rejects off of 64.4, which is unlikely in my opinion. And I'm more leaning towards this liquidity game continuing where it sweeps lows, sweeps highs. So it's so over, we're so back. Comes all the way down to a place where people think it can't go. No way it could go there. Goes there. Obviously in between, if this does happen and then it comes back down, it's not like it has to go there. If it comes back down, hold support. If it comes back even just halfway and starts to break out, plans will change. But for now, I think this is going to be the path over the next couple of weeks. So today is Saturday. I think that we've seen probably most of the movement we're going to see. Moving up a little, I don't think we take out yesterday's high today. I think that we stay around this area here and more of movement comes tomorrow. I'll be watching alts particularly to see if they do their usual weekend antics where you see weekend pumps. Tends to be the way because we had a bearish week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all red. Nothing good happening all week. And then a big reversal Friday. It's gotten people into this we're so back mode yet again. But it's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean that, the market's going to crash or anything like that. This kind of thing's pretty simple. It's just the market's not going significantly lower. And because it doesn't just break out immediately to all-time highs, it doesn't mean it's bearish either. So throughout all of this, since this peak here, we had the big flush, we had the rally up, then it came down, looked bad, felt bad, didn't make a new low. Moved up, took out the highs, dropped back, looks bad, feels bad, doesn't make new lows. So what's happening is Bitcoin, most likely, is gearing up for a move higher. But if it's not going to go significantly lower, so it's already had the big flush. So if it's not going to go down here and really wipe people out, then it's going to chop them up. And it's going to spend time here with false rallies. And is this the time? No. Is this the time? No. Are we back? No. We need to get out, get in, get out, get in. To me, this is very, very normal. And it's exactly what you want to see. If it's not going to have a deep flush into the 40s, then you just want to see it chop around, build a base, and kick on from there. So, expectations, pretty much that. It's quite simple at the moment. It's defended the daily bands. I think that will probably cause some people to start piling back in, thinking, oh, we almost lost them, we reclaimed them, and that means it's good again. I think this still is just more of the same, consolidation chop. There's no trend here for BTC. It's not broken out. It's just grinding its way through the range. So I still am of the opinion that it's November, December before we start to really move. And until the election and around the election, there's chop. My projection is that we are probably rising and rallying into that election time, but then we have to chop sideways for a bit, and then it's December when it really begins. And then you get a long rally December into 2025. I think you get a proper rally for the end of the year into the start of next year. And that's probably when it tops for maybe the cycle more likely just tops for several months as this sort of super cycle gold type of price action I mentioned on the monthly preview, where I don't know if it was the monthly preview, was it? It was one of them. I think it was monthly preview. Where Bitcoin keeps going higher and it has 2-3 month rallies followed by lengthy, choppy consolidations, but all the while it continues rising unless we have a major deflationary event, a recession or whatever. Avoiding any of that, I think Bitcoin is going up and to the right. I don't think it's set up for a big blow off top or anything like that. I think it's just accumulation, reaccumulation. This big breakout, I mean, this is the most obvious diagonal breakout you're ever going to see. Now it's 7 going on for 8 months, and I do think that breakout will be valid and legitimate when it comes. But that will probably catalyze a move up that gets people thinking, holy shit, this breakout's going to last for, months and months and months, and then you get not that, you get more chop before it goes higher again. And maybe towards the end of next year, we do the same thing. That's my current thoughts. There's obviously a lot that's in the future there. It's not, it can all change, but that's my expectation right now. I don't think that Bitcoin lagging stocks matters because it hasn't mattered all year. It also didn't matter when Bitcoin was leading stocks at the end of last year, start of this year. I don't think that gold and Bitcoin comparisons matter because, again, gold has a different set of participants. Gold's being bought and sold for different reasons. Gold is 10 times bigger than Bitcoin. Bitcoin's path is to eventually flip gold. It's not to have done it right away in one cycle or go to 500k this next year or whatever. These are all things that frankly just aren't on the table right now because it's such a large asset and it's so volatile that people will take profit, especially the players that are in now, the bigger players, the Wall Street types, etc. They'll take profit whenever there are significant moves, and a significant move can be 50-60% because you're talking about billions of dollars and you're talking about an asset that people know has that downside volatility, right? So in crypto, you kind of just look at the upside. You're like, wow, this went up like 200%. And then it pulled back like 35%. So going up 200% with a 35% pullback is about what you'd expect with a volatile asset. Gold's not going to go up 200%. It's also not going to pull back 35%, right? It just doesn't happen. The gold pullback across a 3-year time frame was what? 20%, but also from the lows, 1600 to 2600. It's up about 60 or 70%, right? It's not, gold's just not going to triple. And if it did, well, it obviously can. If it did triple from 1600, that's 4800. I mean, that's like off the screen here, right? So for gold to go to there, it's going to be like behaving like BTC, at which point you're going to see a significant decline as well. So that type of move, that type of price action is what you see on BTC, and you see a less volatile version of it on gold. And same thing for stocks, right? Stocks, again, don't, like the stock indexes, obviously the individual stocks do, but the S&P is not going to triple, right? The lows are 3.5k. It's not going to go to 11k in this push, but also it doesn't pull back as far. So when we're looking at this seems like a volatile move or a volatile market, but just in the last bull market, Bitcoin went up from bottom to top. It went up about roughly 15x, right? You see from absolute low of about 3k is up, well, from the absolute low is up about 20x. From the COVID lows is about 16x. And then it had a 70%, 80% decline. So what matters here is how high does it go? It's about 4x off the lows, 15k to 70k. 5x, sorry, let's call it. Almost 4 to 5x. And it's not going to go 20x off the lows like last cycle. So if it went another double up to 120, that would be about 7 or 8x off the lows. That should mean that the next bear market decline on BTC is nowhere near 70 or 80%. It's probably more like 40 or 50, which is something like taking it into the 120s and then back to basically where it came from, right? 120 back to there is about a 50% decline. So that's the kind of thing I'm looking at, but I don't think it does this all in one go. I don't think that BTC is going to have such a blow off top followed by lengthy decline again, unless you see the things I've mentioned, right? Unless you see major deflationary event, major recession, stuff that would be genuinely bad for any volatile risk asset, which Bitcoin is. It is a store of value. It will be a store of value, but it's in the volatile phase where people are not as confident in its ability to store value because it's so volatile. People are still investing in Bitcoin for the upside potential. So that's not store of value. You don't invest in a store of value because you think it's going to outperform gold and stocks, and it's going to outperform the NASDAQ, and it's going to go up 5x. Store of value is to first and foremost protect your purchasing power. So until BTC loses all volatility, it's not going to be a proper store of value. So that's a good thing. The volatility is a massive plus for us because it means Bitcoin still has big potential. By the time Bitcoin goes up 100% and down 25%, well, that's when you go into these phases of it's getting more and more like gold, and it's going to go up and to the right, and it's a great thing to hold for 10 years, but it's not going to have major, price appreciation within short time periods like it still does at the moment. Weekly chart looks good. Reclaimed the weekly bands after briefly flipping them red. Again, nothing much of note here until a 70k breakout. Monthly, talked about this. So here's a good back to monthly preview. I talked about, what did I say? October would start red and finish green. So I'm still of the opinion of that. We had our down